be going into another interesting session. That's the panel session. And moderating this session is no other person but our dear bro also.
Thank you very much. And co-moderating with me would be our sister, Chioma Onyekelo, who would do well to introduce and call on our guests.
ASF arise. Are we excited to be here today? All right, so we're not going to waste your time. Please, you're going to bring out your writing materials. We're going to learn a whole lot. So I'll start with the first panelist. That's Professor Chinonso Achebe. So while we read his profile, he's going to come up right now. Professor Chinonso Achebe is an esteemed academic and accomplished leader, currently serving as the Dean of Student Affairs at Nnamdi Azikiwe University. With a remarkable aptitude for teaching, he has established himself as a lecturer of exceptional quality. In addition to his academic pursuits, Professor Achebe is the founder of Togo, an organization that embodies his unwavering commitment to representing Jesus Christ through excellence and disciplined Christian youth. Through Togo, he imparts invaluable values and principles to inspire the next generation of leaders. As a leader, Professor Achebe is known for his affirmable demeanor and dedication to serving others. He consistently demonstrates a deep passion for guiding and mentoring Christian youth, instilling in them the importance of upholding excellence in all aspects of their lives. With a wealth of experience and expertise, Professor Chinonso Achebe continues to make a significant impact in the field of education and student affairs. His unwavering dedication to academic excellence and his commitment to nurturing the spiritual growth of Christian youth make him a highly respected figure within his academic community and beyond. Brethren, let's also clap one more time for Professor Chinonso Achebe.
Thank you. Next would be someone very special, the lady in the midst. Mrs. Uchenna Onwamwebugu is a Christian wife and mother who has made significant contributions in the field of education and technology. As the founder of EduFund STEM and Robotic Hub, she is a passionate advocate for STEM technology, that's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education. With a focus on equipping children with essential 21st century skills, Ms. Onwamwebugu prepares young minds for the challenges and opportunities of tomorrow's workforce. Her dedication to empowering students is exemplified by her role as a coach for the 5-girl team from Regina Apache Secondary School, Onitsha. This talented team achieved great success by winning the prestigious 2018 Technovation Award at Silicon Valley, US. Recognized for her outstanding contributions, Mrs. Onwamwebugu is a recipient of the yearly Mandela Washington Fellowship and an Obama Foundation winner. These accolades reflect her commitment to excellence and her efforts to make a positive impact in the education sector. Through her visionary leadership and tireless efforts, Ms. Uchenna Onwamwebugu continues to inspire and empower the young generation, ensuring that they have the necessary skills and opportunities to thrive in an ever-evolving world. Let us put it together for Mrs. Uchenna Onwamwebugu.
Our third panelist is Mr. Abunike Kingsley Udechukwu. Mr. Abunike Kingsley Udechukwu is a Christian and the CEO of Sprint Automation Tech Services and Solutions Company. With a focus on energy, software, safety, security, and automations, Sprint Automation has established itself as a leading tech company. Under Mr. Udechukwu's leadership, Sprint Automation has successfully completed several notable projects, including the automation of the Caribbean Luxury Hotel in Lagos and software integration and perimeter surveillance of Rush Lounge in Victoria Island, Lagos. The company has also demonstrated expertise in commercial and residential solar projects and is actively working towards advancing solar applications in Nigeria's cities and suburbs, with branch offices in Abuja and Lagos. Sprint Automations operates from its head office located at 21 Oguta Road, Onitsha. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's make welcome Mr. Abunike Kinsley.
Thank you very much once again. The essence of the panel session, in line with our theme, Occupy, Breaking Frontiers Through Excellence, is to be able to look at these wonderful persons here who have excelled in their fields and career, and actually which can be an inspiration to many of us. Incidentally, one of the speakers is still in Abuja. His flight couldn't make it, which is Honorable Nonso Smart Okafor. But we plan to still send his session recorded to the platform later. Starting with the first question, which will be going to Professor Chinonso Achebe. I share the same name with him. Incidentally, I don't know, I'm not proud to say that I'm a prof now because I have a prof here. So, sir, please permit me to continue using the prof after today. So, yes, thank you, sir. He has permitted me. So, the fact is that to many persons that know him very well, he's an excellent person. He's a preacher, you call him to preach, but still he's a professor. Not prof. He's also in the church, he's a council leader. In the university, he's a management member. In fact, Dean of Students Affairs, you know what it means. Sir, I'm just being curious. All these things you do is reflecting excellence. Is there something else? Is there a level of work still that needs to be done? Or being a Christian, is it enough to achieve those things?
Thank you, Prof. You can be a professor in the other climes too. So, thank you. I'd want to say first and foremost that I'm delighted being in your midst, in the midst of the brethren. I'm seeing a lot of old faces who disappeared. And it's a momentous time and season, coming together to share fellowship, one with another. That's the scripture. So you're welcome to Oka once again. Welcome back to Oka, because once you were here, I think I'm the landlord here. I've been in Oka since 1990. No leave, no transfer. So that's 33 solid years. So I think I know Oka more than most of us. So welcome, I'm the landlord. All right. To your question, I'd start from the scripture. Proverbs 22:29. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 29 says, "Seest thou a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings. He shall not stand before mean men." I think the answer is very clear. We'll tie it to the fact that we exist in a world. Jesus said, "I do not pray that you take them away from the world, but that you keep them right inside the world." We owe our world a duty to actually conquer the mountains of influence. Of course, there are 7 of them, the 7 societal mountains of influence, of which education is just one. So whatever work you're doing, whatever profession you belong to, wherever you find yourself, is a mountain that needs conquest. And when I read the scriptures in Revelation, the Bible says that the kingdoms of this world have become the kingdoms of our God and his Christ, and he shall reign, then that rulership must necessarily pass through some human agent, which I count myself as one. So to be able to harmonize all the facets of life and coordinate all those demanding issues that have to do with all those facets of life is a matter of balance. Unfortunately, many believers have not been able to strike that balance. That is why it is either their spiritual life suffers at the altar of their profession, or their profession is suffering because they want to be Christians enough. But I think God has given us wisdom and ability to combine all of that. And where grace abounds, we will be able to combine these things effectively. I don't see my job conflicting with my Christian life and the demands of my Christian life, on one hand, and then my work as a minister of the gospel on the other hand. Neither do I see my Christianity as an impediment to being developed and getting to the peak of my career. Of course, by his grace, we are at the peak. Whatever remains now is a matter of appointment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. He mentioned diligence and he mentioned balance. Take the notes.
Thank you, Prof. So I'm going to talk about something very interesting right now, especially for the ladies, for the girls, and I'm super excited to be addressing this question to the only woman in the panel session. And I want to ask you, what motivated your interest in tech, as well as your decision to set up Edufund Technique in the Southeast, Anambra precisely?
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, I'm super excited. Nonso knows that if you tell me there are youths there, I'll come. So no matter how tight my schedule is, I'm so glad I didn't cancel this morning. You know, I'm so happy because I had other things to do that I had planned. But I'm going to get it done, you know, once I'm out of it. So I'm happy you are here. I'm happy to meet you. And I hope we'll learn from each other. So let me go straight. What's motivated me? I think it wasn't a one-thing decision to do it. We all has come, you know, through a lifestyle or in a journey of our life where we are confused. We don't even know what to do. You know, we try this one, we try the other one. We just want to keep doing something. So at my own point, I think I will always say my mom guided me to my success. And I always say it because most of you say my mom, my parents, they have lived their life. And this is my time. Listen. So the first thing I will tell is listen to your parents. The things they say are not always out of place, but it could guide you. So my tech journey started so early with my mom, me getting out of secondary school, and she telling me, "Amara figure make it sewing." I sewing. It didn't work well because, you know, I was working with a young man. Then I left. She now said, "Hey, there is this new thing in town. There is this computer thing in town. I want you to." This is in 2000 and in the year 2000. It's a long time, right? So I just finished secondary school. So she said, "Let's go and try that one." Then we went to try it out, and I liked the computer. So even though that was not what I studied in school, but that was my first attempt of loving computers, and I did night browsing. You know, when we have to go to cyber cafe and do all night. So, and I started discovering things, and I love learning. That was how we started. So the second question is about EduFund, right? EduFund started way back when I finished my university. Still, when I finished my university, just like almost everyone, you'll be confused, like, what will you do? I read psychology, but I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a criminal psychologist, but we don't have that kind of course in Nigeria. So I fell back to doing so many other things. Then, by chance, I went back to technology again and found interest. And at that point, computer is everywhere. And that was how I started. So my motivation when I started was actually to make sure that every child or every young girl growing up the way I did had an opportunity, the same chance that my mother gave me, to learn and to explore the world of technology. Because when I immerse myself in my world of tech, I discover a lot of things that a lot of people don't know about. So my motivation was to help young people at a very young age to dive into technology.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Yes, the third panelist has built a brand, Sprint Automations Technological Services, has a major focus in energy, security, and many of them. And you've built these brands, and it has stood the test of time. We want to find out, were there some steps you took in building those, and how was the brand able to help you to dominate your frontier?
ASF Arise? ASF? Okay, I want to say first of all that I'm glad to be here. And I'm an ASFite, but and I schooled in Futo. So first of all, tech has been something that I love doing. During my days in school, I was among the OGS, and I headed the department for 2 years. So it was something that was a passion for me. And then in Futo, we are like brothers. You get it? We are like brothers who would always do things together. And I saw the team spirit and how tech, binds men together, and the love it propagates. So after school, I did not bother looking for a job. So I said, okay, I had basic skills like 2 to 3. Then I began to expand. First of all, they will tell you that growth is first of all downwards before it goes up. For example, if you have maize and you plant maize, once you plant the maize in the ground, it will first of all shoot down and gain roots for stamina and for nutrients before it begins to go upward. So what we see today in Nigeria, that everybody is struggling for the social media fame and forgetting that they have to grow downwards first of all before you come out of the ground. So that's a preamble. So to his question, you said, what steps did I take to really establish my brand? I learned a lesson in Futo that if you want to really go far, you have to go with a team. But if you want to achieve short-term goals, just a task that you can go alone, then you will discover that you won't even walk up to 3 miles, you're tired. But when you walk with a team, you discover that your reach will be more impactful, and the frontiers you're going to dominate will be mind-blowing. So that is one thing I did. I would tag that under human capital development. I discovered that there are so many youths who were under my, I wouldn't say leadership, but who were under my mentorship, or people who would look up to me for daily bread and, the next thing to do in life. So for me, I said, okay, why don't I begin to empower these people? And funny enough, most people under my wing I think I'm the leader and I'm also the youngest. So I have people 35 years old, 30 years old in my company who would say, sir, what is, what is the next step we take. So to me, it was so encouraging. So why don't we bring these people together, empower them with skills, you understand, and give them a source of livelihood. So that, to me, that is human capital development for me. Second thing I did again, or the third thing, was corporate social responsibility. You ask yourself, now that you're established, what else can you do for the society at large? It's not a selfish act. What you will end up doing for yourself is that you throw yourself to the open space, you gain more publicity for your company, and that way is a win-win for everybody. You might spend ₦1 million for a project, a CSR project, and you find yourself getting value more than 5-10 million naira, for example. So CSR, it's something else that I did, that made me to stand out to mention, but I think I will stop here for now. Thank you.
So from what he said, first he mentioned having somewhere, starting somewhere. Some of us joke with the work you are already doing in the fellowship. He was an OGS. OGS people line up after it. Then he also mentioned about investing in people. He also mentioned about being patient to go down and come up. Some of us are at the point of going down and we run away. He also talked about the corporate social responsibility in building the brand. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, so right now, we want to look at the skills and qualities. We know that in this convention, we've learned a lot to dominate, right? But if I ask you now, what are the key skills? What are the qualities you need to have, probably inbuilt, or probably you need to learn it from somewhere so that you can start learning it right now? Most of us would love to hear that. And thank God we have academician in our midst. So, Prof, we're coming back to you, sir. As a successful professional in your field, sir, what qualities or skills do you believe contribute to excelling and dominating frontiers in today's workplace?
Thank you. Maybe I will speak from my constituency and experience. And perhaps I could also touch other areas, given that no particular discipline is actually isolated from the others. You can apply what works somewhere in others, whether in tech, like I said. I have 2 tech people besides me, and I'm also tech savvy. Wow. Part of what I've done in my place as the Dean, Student Affairs, is to digitize the operations. We started with student union elections. We do 100% digitized work, virtual voting, real-time count. So nobody comes up to say Beavers is not working. No Beavers. So you are there in situation, remember is seeing it. As voting is going on, it is counting real time. You see who is winning and see by what margin. And by the time is up, it shuts down automatically and gives you the result. So why can't we have that in Nigeria? So we are beckoning on the electoral umpire to come and learn from us. By that I'm saying there is a need for excellence. You come with excellent mindset. We've also digitized our allocation, hostel allocation process. You go online, you book your hostel to the space where you want to occupy. And then now we are digitizing our orientation. So year 1, you go online, click your button, listen to all the resource persons, including the principal officers. And then at the end of the day, you answer questions. If you pass the questions, you go to the next, it's in modules. You go to the next stage until you get to the last. And then it gives you access to continue with your registration. If you fail, you go back. so that, yes, so that you don't come there and just pen your name. For instance, UNIZIK is admitting about 10,000 students this year, between 10,000 and 11,000. That's what we have now. And that's quite a number. Last year, I had about 5,000 registered students for the orientation, but I'm sure 5,000 never sat down at any moment. So people come, pen down their names, and they jet off, go about every other business except the orientation thing. And at the end of the day, they falter in things they should have learned through the orientation. And then they come back. You know, my job as the Dean Student Affairs is a critical one. It's in UNN, where SOMTO belongs. They call it Dino Mwazi. Dino Mwazi. So I am Dino Mwazi. And if I remember before Mwazi, very seriously, any mother will lead it in Olachaya, then he will. Even she, I've seen 2 she's apart from men. I mosu mukolu never. Mano muwai sukuzi. Alachaya kofa. Okwaka, because we maintain an open door policy. You can come in at any time to see the dean. He's your dean. So you come in, we look at your matter. And then Owelocha say, Dean, I have eaten my school fees. If you have a was if I get me. So only Diego Moa. So that's the job. But we thank God for the grace to do this job. So excellence is of essence. And when you have a culture of excellence, you've gone for it in everything. You try to live a system better than you met it. That's what should drive you. And then versatility, opening up your heart. You learn through every process. Learning is a continuum. Being a professor does not seal the bar to learning. There is one thing or the other you can learn at any given time, even from the least of the persons you expected to learn. So that is why you have to keep an open mind. And then always have room for development. They say, I think it's Ralph Emerson that says, the room for development is the largest room on earth. So if you enter that room, make sure you keep expanding it. Other things you need to do is be resilient. Keep pursuing. I tell people that are around me, you cannot develop any less than your peers. I challenge people. When you fail to develop along with your peers, you become a complainant. You see yourself as a disadvantaged person and also an endangered species. That way, everything becomes very, very, unwelcoming to you. You find yourself not at peace with yourself, with your environment, with every other person. You are bound to interpret and misinterpret every single thing that happens. And that way, you find yourself struggling all the time. You become a petitionist. You keep writing petitions and you keep fighting with yourself and with every other person. But if you develop along with others, it gives you that leverage that when opportunities come, you are developed enough to grab these opportunities. You see, I tell people that opportunities may not be looking for you, but they seize opportunities. Why do you seize it? Because sometimes it's not coming at you at all. It's just passing by. But somebody who is supposed to seize it is not just competent, qualified, to grab it. You who have the competence, you have the qualification, you have developed yourself, you grab it, you seize it. That's the way opportunities are utilized. And you begin to work with it. So you must also work in that wise to get yourself equipped, get yourself skilled. Skillfulness is essential in what you do. And when you do that, you are setting yourself up for whatever may come your way. And that in the positive sense. Otherwise, you are just there, redundant, not improving. Others come and overtake you. And then you become a liability, not an asset. So always see yourself as an asset to wherever, whatever organization you belong to. And the way to do that is to improve yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. I hope we are writing down, because this is an exclusive session. So many skills were just listed now, and I hope you are taking down. Thank you, sir, for that.
Yes. On my own part, I'm opportunity to have known Ms. Onwamwebu Ugu during our times when I was the state coordinator for Yali Anambra. And this part of the story, I'm sorry I'll be sharing because it inspired me. She was telling me then, many years ago, how when she was in school, she would go to markets to buy okerika. I'm serious, in this Unizig. And she would live in the house and this and that. From there, she came out, did this, did that, started the phone technique and many other things. In fact, one of the first things that spurred her out, even for us, apart from being the Mandela Washington Fellow and went to US and the rest, was that she took the Anambra Golden Girls. But do you know what? Before that clicked, many other schools, she had visited them, teaching them free STEM education. Some people were doing guy for her. Now, immediately after that one clicked, everyone started calling her. In fact, even the ones that already clicked, and guy of Fabazialo and the rest, we are surprised how were you able to sustain. In fact, recently, Anchop has now built source of STEM, not STEM, anemia. You will tell us more. This is continuous adaptation and in trying to evolve. How were you able to do this to remain ahead of the game? And still, at this time, you are still remaining within the ambits of the competition and even the inspiration already in the society.
Okay. I believe most of you are still students. I will do, no? Okay. So, yeah, I'm still a student. Don't get it twisted. I'm still going back to school. So I'm still a student. So, like he said, you know, learning continues. So, and, you know, no matter the stage you are in your life, things evolve, right? So that story is still long, so I won't talk about it. But how do I still maintain or sustain what I'm doing? If you have passion, if you have vision and passion, you always dominate. It's natural. You don't get tired. So if it fails, you find another way to make it work. Then, if there is a roadmap to where you are going, you understand that at every roadmap, there is a pothole, there is a stop, there is something that will always make things not to work, you know. But when you are passionate about it, you keep moving. So, for example, in technology, it evolves. Like he said, today you are going to do orientation using your phone or your laptop, and it means that you finish that module. If they bring 10,000 students in a hall, they will sleep, they will gossip, they will use their phone, go to WhatsApp, Facebook. You know, they won't even listen to. Yes, so they will just tell you, you know, they don't care. So online reading makes it possible that if you sleep and wake up, you will still do that program. You know, whatever happens. So that is what it is with business. We keep evolving. Throughout December last year, I've been doing research on the new latest technology on ChatGPT and Midjourney and co. I am now, you know, a prompt engineer, even though I'm doing it in my room. I know a lot of things about it. So when I sit down to craft a curriculum, okay, right now, one of the schools I'm working with, the children are already learning how to prompt. You can't hide those things from them because they are digital natives. They are born into everything happening in technology. So I've crafted a curriculum for them in order to let them learn and not to copy. Because what people think is that those things are to go and copy and they will not be smart. The kind of education I've gotten from using those tools is not in the university. I'm sorry, Prof. It's not yet there, Yeah. So, and I can easily design a program for universities to make sure that students use that tool effectively, because I am learning. So there is no way I won't be at the top of my game. If you think that it is STEAM, it's STEAM now because you have arts. You have people on doing the music and, everything. They are part of STEM. But the difference is that they are hands-on. It's not just the theory aspect of it. You are learning hands-on. That's it. So I stay because I know the implementation method of what I'm doing. I know what the country can use to run on STEM, and I know it practically. I didn't know it because I've read. I've done this for 10 years, so I will always be on the top of my game. And the greatest thing I want to achieve, I know he didn't ask me that, is how do I multiply myself? It beats my heart that young people don't want to learn. It beats my heart. When I was starting this program, like he said, I will get to a school by 7 a.m., waiting for the school owner to come. I will wait patiently. And she walks in around 8:30, does her morning assembly. She won't even notice I'm there. Then the next thing, she will answer a call and go away. And I'm still waiting. Then she comes back and says, oh, Ibia. I've been since 8 o'clock, and she's asking me, Ibia. Yes, I'm here. Then she said, okay, wait. Then she enters another meeting. And the next thing, she will pack her bag and go home. And I'll be like, and the secretary will say, Madam, I'm busy. And I'll come back. That shows resilience. And that is what business means. And I'll talk to banks. I'll talk to banks for 1 year, they don't answer. 2 years, they don't answer. I'm learning something from it. I'm learning to be stronger. I'm learning to move on to the next person. I'm learning to go back and visit you again. I'm learning to be on your face so that you know I came. You wouldn't say I wasn't there. So the roadmap to sustainability and success is resilience. Being at the top of a game, keep learning, having passion for what you do, then have a roadmap. Now, when I say passion is different from making money. If you are passionate enough, you make more money. If you are not passionate, you can still make money. But when you have both of them, it means that you will be sustainable and be consistent in what you are doing. Is there anyone?
No need reiterating. It was very clear. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so most of us this time around, some people would have some businesses, right? You started off your business and it will be there the way you started it. Even if AI is coming, ChatGPT is coming, you don't want to know. In fact, it has gotten to that extent where some Christians will tag it 666. Like anything about innovation is a no. They just want to be there where you have told them in the beginning, so shall it be. But then we want to look at innovation, and I want to talk to Mr. Abunike. In your experience, what role does innovation play in dominating frontiers and staying ahead of the competition? You can also help us and share any instance you know that led to significant breakthroughs in your career.
ASFAA. Okay, when it comes to technology, you cannot further say much about technology without innovation. But that is the heartbeat of technology. I will share a little story. About 5 years ago, it's way beyond 5 years, but let me know if I emphasize. 5 years ago, I was like, when it comes to solar installations now, and then we have panels placed on the rooftop. You get to see a beautiful house with very good aesthetic, nice, and then you see panels, wrongly placed on the roof. And from a distance, you look at this, you discover that the solar panels just defaced the building. And then it got me thinking, why can't this be done better? Or is there no a better approach to this? And this was me in my room thinking about this years ago. My senior colleague, Elon Musk, not knowing that he has started something, to effect that change. And then he was among the first to start producing what we call solar shingles, that is solar roofing tiles, whereby when you build your house and it gets to the roofing stage, you use your 2x2 and then you put the plywood, and then what you call metro tiles or your roofing sheets becomes solar panels, of which each one is going to generate 7 kilowatts. So if you have 7 kilowatts per roofing sheet times, you say 1,000 of that shingles, you know how much you're putting, about 7,000, right, of solar energy. And I was like, wow, so I've been thinking of this, and someone has taken a step forward to be ahead in the market. And then recently I've been with their, their sales manager over, we've scheduled meetings, that was last week. I was like, I want this to be in Nigeria, because if you're looking at Nigeria now, you find out that we don't have such breakthrough yet in Nigeria. And then the first thing they told me is, sorry, we don't cover in your region. Africa as a whole, talk more of Nigeria. Then I went further to say, why? Then they mentioned cost, they mentioned so many things that ruled Nigeria out of it. So it made me to now further look into other options, the Chinese. Because I know if I want to break through the Nigerian market, I need the price to be, affordable. I need the product to come in mass. And the only place that can do that for me is the Chinese market. So since I already have some contact in China, then I began to talk to them. How possible is this? How possible is that? And I can tell you that we're making progress. So I will be innovative in this space. Let me say I will be ahead of my competitors if in Nigeria I'm among the first to bring a solution whereby you're building your house and your roofing sheets are solar shingles. I could make scary millions from it before we begin to have other competitors. So that is the power of innovation. So for you to really grow your brand, you must learn to follow industry leaders. For me, I follow Musk. Whatever he does, I look at it. I understudy him. You understand? He has a product called the Powerwall 2, the Powerwall 1, and those products are powerful. So for me now, I'm saying beyond installations, the next phase my company is entering into now is research. And when it comes to Nigeria, we could be terrible at that. Looking at not just installing other people's products, we have Felicity breaking the solar market in Nigeria, we have Growat, and we have other competitors. They bring in the products, we buy from them, we draw quotations, and we store for clients. But you hardly see a tech-based company who would go into research and produce a global recognized product. So for me, us as Sprint Automations, we are saying, okay, this is what we are going to do. So one thing again you could do to place your brand, in the frontiers is this. You should always try to align your company's goal and vision according to global organizations. For example, SDG 7, there was a column for solar. They said by 2030, Africa or the world should have access to clean, renewable, and substantial energy. And I said that is a very big vision. And it's not something that UN can do alone. So since my company is a tech company, what can we do to align ourselves to this? And I said, okay, in Nigeria, what is my quota? How many solar jobs can we do? You understand? To generate at least, even if it's up to 10,000 kilowatts. It means we have to do a couple of installations. So if we are to achieve that, what can we do about it? It means we need to market, we need to bring in price-friendly products. So innovation is going to throw you and expand your thinking, faculty. It's going to broaden your vision. There are things in your vision that you don't even know. You don't even know how broad your vision is until you become innovative and you start acting it out. So you might think, okay, I'm just into, we started with energy, solar. Then we entered safety and security, access control. You understand? Then software. So because when you have one installation and you get to a facility, you will see diverse solutions that are needed. You as a leader, it it makes you to, put yourself on the scale, know what you weigh, if you're going to increase knowledge, expertise, and all that. So innovation is just the heartbeat in tech. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think I got something from his explanations. He talked much about placing yourself within or with global organizations, right? Don't limit yourself. Don't be a local champion. Try to associate, attend conferences like this. And that's why I appreciate every one of you that came here, because this is like a stepping stone to what lies ahead of us. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, as we quickly go over the last questions. When you were speaking earlier, I talked about balance. I work in the healthcare where I was privy to one of the information which most of us also read online some time ago of an immigrant nurse, okay, let me say a Nigerian nurse abroad, whose license was seized. Why? A baby was asphyxiating and trying to almost die or later died. She was shouting, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Now, in Nigeria, when that happens, you know what brethren will do. You know it's devil that is persecuting us. Hope you know. Now, we want you as an experienced person that have traversed both fields, your career and also ministry, giving us some practical tips for believers who still find it difficult to manage their spiritual commitments with the demands of their job, such that they become mediocres instead of being excellent.
Thank you. Well, not divorcing the place of the spiritual from every other intellectual, things we do, because they are complementary, actually. I would give an example. Sometimes the doctors just lose it completely. One of our staff nearly lost the wife. She was delivered of a baby and bleeding set in. And as she bled, I think she had taken 10 pints of blood. She was going. And the young man ran to church. I was in church. And the message that was coming on that day was very powerful. And then suddenly he burst through the western gate, western door, and he was making for the altar. The ushers tried stopping him, but he was unstoppable. He was ready to fight anybody. And he walked up to the altar, before the altar, and lay prostrate. I thought the message had hit him hard. He was there to confess something or the other. Where I was seated in the congregation, I was waiting to know what next. I think it was the chaplain that walked up to him and then took him outside. I didn't want to go out to join. Somebody persuaded me to come. I said, but the chaplain is handling. He said, please come along. And so I did. When I got there, the young man was collapsing. He nearly collapsed. I was the one that held him. What is the matter? I said, my wife is dying. She's been bleeding. And the doctor said, the only thing to do to save this life is to cut off the uterus. And they had prepared everything for it. In fact, the theater was set. All the different professionals who were supposed to be there had been invited. I just called a medical consultant in church, Dr. Chufaro. I said, let's go. I took my car. She entered, and I told the young man that we drove to the hospital there. When we got to the hospital, it was a hopeless case because I saw the bed sheet soaked all in blood. White bed sheet, everything was now red. And before us, they took that one away. And the doctor said, that's the only chance of this woman surviving now. But we made our prayers anyway. And the young man was already, so distraught. He lay on the floor and began to ask God questions. Say, Father, like Jesus prayed, why have thou forsaken me? And when he said that, I said, no, he has not forsaken you. You're not Jesus. It's Jesus he forsook. It's not you. So we made our prayers. And then at the time he was behaving funny, thinking he was going to die even before the woman that was dying. And then they wheeled the lady into the theater. And immediately they got into the theater. The blood flow ceased. And they probed. They inserted the probe and they discovered that the tear that was in the womb had sutured up. That's why they brought her out again. So we've not seen this kind. So I cannot divorce the supernatural from the physical. The doctors, they have beautiful, beautiful knowledge. I thank God for that endowment. It's to help mankind. And every other area of life, for that matter. There are endowments, but the supernatural is still more powerful than any else. I know a brother that was built for surgery, double major surgery, a word only. That surgery will not hold. That's what came. And they went back. The doctor said, go back for checkup, for tests. The test result came out. He's a lecturer in Unizik. The test result came out. He was 15 times better than a normal person. And that was how that surgery ended. So we've seen God. And the person who shouted Jesus, Jesus, there's nothing wrong in shouting Jesus. It's just that maybe in the climb where she saw herself, there is this aversion towards God. And so it has become the standard. It's not yet wrong that we pray, but we must not do only praying. We also would make use of the things God has given us freely. So that we'll not just be praying. We have wisdom, we have knowledge. There is understanding. All these things God has made available. So we also use them. We wouldn't say Medicare is wrong. No, we have to resort to these things. And then also expect the miraculous. It does come. However, God wills, in any case. Now, coming back to the issue that you raised, we must develop ourselves, like I said before. I came into lectureship 2002. That was when I was given lectureship appointment for the first time as an assistant lecturer. And I met a crop of people who were not keen about development. In fact, every other person was talking money. Those who, knew what to talk at all, they talked money. And I discovered that actually I didn't know what it took to move forward. I thought now you've gotten the appointment. Time would only spell out your promotion. I didn't know there were other things to do. That in my profession, it is publish or perish. You must publish. If you're going to actually move forward, you must research. I didn't see my senior colleagues researching anything. And that is why many of them retired as senior lecturers. They never crossed that bridge. So when we came in, it was when I was going for the first promotion, I realized where I was. Because I had barely the minimum to take me across that first stage. And then I woke up. Really, I did. That is how we started researching profusely, as much as we had the resources. And we started pushing. So that before I got to promotion, I had exceeded that level of points that was necessary for that moment. But something else happened. Along the line, we were very few hands. And the job was encumbering. And also, if you work in a team that is not a team per se, where people have their own ideas and they're not cooperative, and maybe you're the only one who is cooperative with your head, you're going to be overloaded. In fact, somebody warned me when the department was split into two, And I fell into mechanical. IPE went that way. Almost everybody ran over to the other side. And I said, well, I'm here to work. I didn't come to see anybody, and I have no problem with anybody. As a matter of fact, I can thrive well with everybody, including the mad, the insane, the schizophrenic, and those who are sane, and those who are, everybody. I can work with anybody and everybody. But it hadn't come to that level yet. But you know, people say problems where there is none. And then one of my colleagues saw me. He said, Achebe, I'm sorry for you. I saw you in a meeting with Nebuchadnezzar and Herod. I quickly understood what we were saying, because I had I had my HOD. He was referring to my then HOD as Herod, and then one of my senior colleagues as Nebuchadnezzar. So I was in a meeting with these two. I said, okay, God has given me the grace to also conquer Nebuchadnezzar and Herod, and things are working. We laughed over it. And then at the end of the day, he was the one that was in the midst of all the Nebuchadnezzars you can think about. Because right now, he has run away from that department. He's in my department now. He had to cross over. In fact, he had to suffer under Nebuchadnezzar. That's why you don't say some certain things to certain people, because there is a back to sender that happens. Even when nobody has said that. Even when you have not said that. There are people you just say certain things against, and it reverts back to you by default. So, having said that, I had to develop myself. I had to work hard. I had to research. I had to publish. Yes. And that was how quickly I was ecstatic. I picked my pen and went there, put it in. The whole thing was complete. I submitted my work. And so you need God's guidance, even in all you do. You need wisdom also, and God can give you wisdom. The Bible said, does anybody lack wisdom? Let him ask. He freely gives. So I had to pray and ask God, how do I really beat this situation now? And the Spirit of God said, when you come, go to the church, the chapel, switch off your phone, begin to do your work. I said, thank you, Lord. The next day I ran to chapel there, switched off my phone, started doing my work. By the time I was satisfied that I had done substantial work, I put on my phone. The next call I will hear will be that of my HOD. Achebe, where are you? And I'll say, sir, I'm around. I'm in school. He said, please, I know someone again on the department. About what someone here know. Come on, when they born on say Luaka. So, in one on say Luaka, you're in trouble. Oh, someone again on the department. That's the time I will now go and begin to do the work. Are we together? All the other work that are on his desk. And that also helped me, because by the time I became the HOD, yes, I worked with him. He handed over to the next man. That one did not last. I think about 1 year or so, he didn't do well. He was removed. And then I was now appointed the HOD, which I did for 3 years. And in serving, I had already known the nitty-gritties of the business. There was nothing to learn again, because I had learned. And so naturally, I assumed the position and did the work without, any hindrances. But all these things, like I said, striking a balance. I had to do my work, and then I was able to finish my PhD work, even though, because I was so encumbered with the work in the department, I was doing everything, not doing mine. I lost 1 year of promotion. Yes, I was then going to go to the senior rank, senior lecturer. But in that year, rules changed. Before now, you could become a professor without PhD. Yes, it wasn't mandatory. But somehow it was introduced. Along the line, if you don't have PhD, you will not be a professor. That is why you see some people, when they reference themselves, or when they write their name, they will say Professor XYZ, PhD. You know why they were doing it then? To show that this professor has PhD. But along the line, you can't be one without the other. And then it happened for some time. It was now moved on to becoming an associate professor. And we thought that's finished. And then they came to senior lecturer. If you don't have PhD, you can't be. Tomorrow, it may be if you don't have PhD, you will not even be a lecturer at all. So, but you must have to understand the times and seasons, upgrade yourself. That's what I'm saying. If you don't upgrade yourself, you lose out. Keep upgrading, keep updating. So that whatever happens, I wish you'll be ahead of the times. So even when they change the rules, you are also qualified to move ahead as others do. So that way I was able to actually overcome that, and then we moved ahead, and today we're where we were. Actually, let me say, I became a professor before those who taught me in undergraduate. Yes. A lot of people who taught me in my undergraduate, I became a professor before them. Well, overtaking is allowed in everywhere you are. And you can only overtake if you're diligent. It refers me back with my opening scripture. Seest thou a man diligent in his business? You stand before kings, not me men. Before I round up, let me drop this for you. I made mention of Ralph Emerson, and that said the biggest room on earth is the room for improvement. Please don't forget that quote. You may not have done well at the first instance. You had a bad start. Don't remain there. Get up. Pick yourself up. Dust yourself up. Keep moving. Failure is not about failing. Failure is failing to rise up again. You may fall. The righteous falleth 7 times and rises up again. But the wicked is overtaken in one. I know a brother who made 3rd class in this university and left. Even with his 3rd class, he had a job with an oil servicing company at Port Harcourt until God said, go back to university. He went back to university, this time to UNN, and read education and made 1st class. Today is a lecturer in UNN with his 1st class. But the first one he had was 3rd class. So you can improve yourself. You can upgrade yourself. So don't stop where, circumstances, surrounding you were not so good, not so favorable, and you found yourself somewhere. Get up from there and keep pushing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, you inspired us. In other words, if you're an engineer, then with Christ you can do more. And then while we are working so much, don't forget to do what? Develop yourself. Because opportunity will come. Some people will not even notice. Thank you, sir.
Sorry, because I know I may not have the opportunity to say something again. Let me just add this. Yesterday, we had, of course, we're marking the 4th year in office of our Vice Chancellor. Some of you may know. The activities began yesterday. Today is the commissioning of the golf course. I believe that's the first in Anambra State. And then in the university there. And then tomorrow is Thanksgiving, as usual, in the Chapel of Glory there. I hope to see some of you. Yesterday was a lecture to mark that. And this is the first time, the first of its kind, to have a lecture to mark that. And I don't know, I was chosen to deliver the lecture. And it was not engineering. It was political science. The title was, Is Nigeria Cursed, or Are Nigerians the Curse? leadership and followership, the bane of development, growth and development in Nigeria. And that was what I was asked to speak on. You know, somebody saw me, he said, when are you going to do your preaching? Tomorrow. I said, oh, preaching? No, I said it's a lecture. He said, I know you for preaching. I said, it's okay. And then when I came around, some people were like, especially those from the block of pole science, all those areas, social science. What is an engineer going to tell us? But I did my work. I did my research. And we stood and we delivered. Everybody was like, oh, what on earth are engineers doing in social sciences again, in politics? And then somebody rightly said, oh, this is political engineering. So you can be versatile. Please, don't limit yourself. In fact, those in social sciences are asking me for the paper. A lot of people are calling and say, send me your, from everywhere, send me your, what is it? Your email. I'm going to forward. And some had to pick the papers and go. You can be versatile. Make yourself available everywhere. By the way, my PhD research is on HIV/AIDS. Yes, that's what I researched on. I had to research on the interaction between the HIV virus with the lymphocyte. And I have a beautiful result. Nobody has that in the whole world. I presented that work at Imperial College. Discipline is one area you should get yourself involved. Please, just to round it up, learn a skill. She read something else, and today she is in tech. You didn't read tech. She read psychology. Today she's in tech. And if I ask him, you didn't read tech either. What did you read, sir? Science technology. Food science technology. You see, food. Food science tech. Today he is in energy. That's my area. Because I'm a professor of thermal power engineering. Thermal and power engineering. And my area of research is in thermodynamics. And I've done a lot with renewable energy. I've done quite a lot with that, biogas generation, all of that. These are areas I have researched very profusely on. And in all of that, and I've done some work on solar energy, wind energy, with my PhD students and all that. So, but in all of these things, you need to pick other things along. Pick other skills. Don't just limit yourself. No knowledge is a waste. As you see me today, I gather a lot of knowledge. Anyone I see, I also get myself acquainted with them so that you wouldn't know where you would need them and where you apply them and where you will even be able to save a life or save a situation. Thank you. Sorry for...
No comment from me.
Thank you, Prof. Okay, so our time is up, but we'll give our panelists at least an opportunity to conclude. Please, Mr. Abnike, tell us, just in a minute, give an advice to us, the youth. A lot of us want to start up our business, right? And we don't have rich parents, and we want to start our business. What can you advise?
Yes, for us. I think Prof has said a lot of things. A lot of things has been covered from what he said. But to speak directly to her question, I did not really have rich parents. I would say they were average or they are average. And I would always tell myself back then in Futu, if you have a vision, it means the means are available. If what you need is $1 billion for a project, your vision or your idea must be worth $1 billion, then it's available for you. When you're venturing into a business, the first thing yes, you can calculate the costs, but the first challenge you see should not be the capital to start the business. Go ahead, draft out the business plan, if it's a business or the project, and get yourself acclimatized to it. These days, I found out that, okay, the first business I ventured into in school, I drew the plan. I never had the means to do it. But there's something about me right from a very young age. My friends are always older than me. Say 10 years, 12 years, 15 years older than me. And whenever I leave school, Futo, and maybe I come to Onisha or Lagos to meet with them, they will be like, they're always, eager and expecting my coming. So I'll meet with them in Onitsha. And I'll say, yes, businessman, what do you have? What do you have? And then I talk to them, I pitch the idea to them. And you would see the eagerness for them to sponsor the project. Then when I developed an e-commerce store, then in Futo, that was when Paystack was the in thing then. And I touched $1 million then in Futo. The money I used to kickstart that business was from my friend who was in the oil and gas sector, HSONA. And then I told him, I'm going to need 600,000 then. And then I took time to draft out the business plan. I did the study, I did the research. And then when I submitted to him, he's learned also, he looked at the paperwork for about a week or so. And then he called me back and he said, this is viable. It's a viable business plan. Let me call my brother in the House of Rep Abuja. I think he can give us some money. And then they gave the first money, and the business went beyond our expectation. And then we split profit across the board. So the capital, I never had the capital, but I had people who had the money for clubbing, for drinking, and they don't know where to throw their money to. So whenever I come around, they'll be like, nah, what's up? What? You understand? So, and Dangote will say something. He said honesty should be, it's a tangible asset, right? He said when you have honesty, even the bank can do business with you. So most times, there are core values of discipline, honesty, integrity that you could bank upon. You might have a good business idea, but people know you as a notorious person. You don't have a bankable asset as character. So no matter how beautiful the idea is, they cannot invest in your knowledge. So secondly, I think for you to grow, the first obstacle, or for we to grow, because we are all growing, the first obstacle before everyone is yourself. And that is the first territory to conquer. Before you begin to, conquer frontiers and territory, if you've not gotten hold of yourself, or you've not conquered yourself as a territory, then there's limit to what you can do. So many Nigerian youth have locked themselves behind the city and put the key in their pocket. And they are hearing the hustle and bustle of the city. And they are like, Prof, please, they've paid you salary. I need urgent 2K. Meanwhile, there are millions lying fallow on the streets. And all they need to do is take the key, unlock themselves, and go out and hustle for it. And that's because they are stuck with addiction, stuck with ill values. So if indeed we must go further and achieve, and you're not from a rich parent, the first thing you must do, work on yourself and bank on everything Prof has said. Take roots, work on yourself, and then you see the money or the value needed to start that business come along, amongst others. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Uchenna, your last words.
I think all these words are our last words. The thing I'll just cap up is, how visible are you with what you are doing? How many of you are on LinkedIn here? How many of you are on LinkedIn? Not Facebook, LinkedIn. How many of you posted today?
Yesterday.
So, be visible. I'll work with I'll try to do a private mentorship section, courtesy of Nonso, for maybe 100 people here, if you are on LinkedIn. So what qualifies you is your LinkedIn, and you get into that. So 1 hour private mentorship section will help us ask questions, and we talk a lot. So I'll do it through Nonso, and we pick a date where we have a Q&A, and I'll make myself available for that.
Thank you so much.
So thank you very much. We've come to the end of the panel session, and I'm sure you must have learned a lot. If you are living here today, you must be living an excellent person. As young Christians, we can become presidents, we can become VCs, you can become the CEO, the dream, anything you can do, you can. And it's in us. That's what we've been drumming into our heads since the first day till this third day. Once again, we thank our panelists. I don't even want to go to question parts because of time.
No, they can write it. Just write your questions, yes.
Okay. So what if we write the question and send? They can answer and then we'll post back.
Yes.
It's not better? So that they can express very well?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So just pack up the questions and we'll send to them. They will do voice notes or write in any method and they will wire back to all of us. Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together for them.